Okay, so from the last video you remember I changed all the bearings in the gearbox, put a new 6th gear in, and new seals and obviously oil in that. And everything was okay, but I noticed that as soon as I was driving, 4th gear was scratching. So I think what was happening, because the old gearbox was so covered in like aluminium filings and just like a thick sludge, once all the bearings, like the needle roller bearings, were cleaned out and the hubs and etc., there was a bit more play. So then basically 4th gear started scratching. So now I'm going to pull the cover off and show you, well, basically replace 4th gear hub and 4th gear needle roller bearing. So we'll have a look at that now, and yeah, and see how the old one looks. So then we've got the cover off. Everything's nice and clean. That's how you want a gearbox to look when you take the cover off. It should all be clean, nicely oiled, etc. Now I'm just going to take the 3rd and 4th gear lay shaft out and just check out why, see if we can see why going into 4th gear it's scratching quite badly. So yeah, I'll pull it out and then I'll show you once I get it out. Okay, so with as you can see, I think, yeah, so this gear here, this is 4th gear, and the next one down is 3rd gear, and this is your where your shift fork locks into this here, and obviously it goes up to select 4th and down to select 3rd. So a quick test you can do, which I should have done originally after like cleaning everything and before assembly, is if you spin 3rd gear freely like that, as I shift down with this, I forget the name of what it is, as I go to shift down, say into 3rd gear, as the weight comes on the gear, it should basically, the synchros in the cone should want to stop that gear spinning like I'm going down now. It should basically want to try and lock it up so that I can actually shift. If it keeps spinning as it shifts, obviously that's what's going to cause the scratching or the grinding. So you can feel it just spinning back and forth, no problem. And as the weight comes on, it basically goes to lock it up, to stop it, to let you engage it. Now if I try and do this with 4th gear, which is the one that's the problem, as I go to lift it up, nothing happens. There's no friction from the synchro. It just sits there like nothing's happening. That's why it continues spinning, and if you go into gear, obviously it's going to grind if it's still spinning. If you can imagine going down the street. So I'm holding the shift fork, where the shift fork goes on here, spinning left and right freely, and even with all the weight on, I'm nearly picking that up off the table. It's not stopping the gear from spinning, so the synchros aren't working right. That's basically all the weight's on that, and the synchro's still not grabbing it. So when I pull that off, it'll be interesting to have a look at maybe the cone on the gear might be, it's been overheated or worn out or what. So yeah, so as that shifts, or else the hub might have play in it, like it, yeah, so as that shifts up, it should be stopping this gear so it can engage, but it's not. Compare that with 3rd gear. As soon as I push down on it, it wants to hold that gear steady like a synchro should and let it engage. So spinning freely, no weight on it, and then the weight comes on from the shift fork. As you go to shift, it stops the gear for you just for a momentary split second and lets you engage it without scratching. So that's a simple test, which I should have done obviously. But so now I'll take the gear off. Hopefully my puller still works. It did crack and break. It is a cheap one, so should give it a go and have a look at it. Okay, so we've got the new fourth and third gear on here with a new, obviously, new hub and selector, new synchros and actual gears themselves. And straight away, put the camera here. Straight away, if you, with the new synchros on and the gear, etc., as soon as weight starts to come up with the shift fork on the selector here, it locks it up straight away, which is what it should do to speed match. So when it goes into gear, it's already slowed the gear down to match the speed, and into gear no problem. Whereas before, when I was putting weight with a selector here, putting weight on it, this would still want to spin around like that, even when it's putting load on the synchros. And if you look over here at the original synchros, the design's a bit different. It's got a separate steel, and it's got a half fiber steel one there, and then a fiber steel one here. But the new synchro pack, it's just one fiber one on both sides in the center, and the two steel and steel on the outside, where this one's got like a mixed fiber steel, like a fiber steel. It's just a mixed. So yeah, and also notice the hub design is a bit different on the new one, where the little collars go in. Where the collars go in on the new one, it's rounded, not square like this. And you can see with the damage, because it was very hard for me to know if this is focusing right, but because the synchros weren't slowing the gears down to speed match, it's actually, every time you hear it grinding, that's the selector. The selector, you can see the edges are just very finely bearing over. Sorry, this is the bad side here. They're burred over, and it's burred over here. So that when your gearbox is doing that, you want to either not use the gear or get the box out and get it fixed quick, because each time it's grinding, it's putting those little bits of metal filings into your oil, obviously, and running through your bearings. And you can actually see on my new bearings, you can actually see extra wear on them already because of the bits of metal running through. So luckily I got to it quick before it done real damage. Yeah, so that's that. So with the new synchros and the new hub setup, it's braking the gear to speed match rather than just trying to change without actually braking the gear, slowing the gear down first. So yeah, so hopefully now fourth gear will be nice and smooth. Everything looks good, feels a lot better. So yeah, that's it for now. I'll just throw this back together and work on the other stuff. See ya.